everyone, it's Sami from Sami's Sweet Life, and today is going to be my week number 32 pregnancy update. It's going to go up for you guys late because I'm filming it late. I really thought I wasn't even going to film it this week because my voice has been scratchy. The day I filmed my last video, which was my last pregnancy update, I ended up coming down with strep. That night my throat started hurting. In the morning my throat was on fire. Went to the doc, got antibiotics, and so I suffered with that for a couple of days and then started feeling better. And then we both came down with some sort of viral infection. We were actually on antibiotics at that point, but it had been quite a few days since the strep had gone away, and the viral infection was worse than the strep. Obviously, we treated the strep very quickly, so it wasn't so bad. But this cold viral infection thing has been going around her school. I thought that's what the strep was when she started having problems with her throat. Kids sometimes will cough from the pain of strep, so I just assumed everybody had strep, and that's what Olivia had caught. Well, no, she ended up having the strep, and then ended up having the coughing, nasty, cold thing that's going around her school, and I caught it too, and she was fine. Like, she bounced back in like one day. She had a fever and then was fine. She's been coughing, of course, because the cough part of it lingers, but man, I have been just sick as a dog these last like 4 days. I think this is day 4 for me, where the first few days I was just like basically in the bed or laying on the couch. Actually, I've lost track of days. This might be like day 5 or 6 because this is near the end of the week and I got it over the weekend. So it's been basically the whole week. I guess I lost track of days. I really thought it was only like day 4, but it's definitely more like day 5 or day 6. But I sound really bad. I'm super congested, and I was already congested just because of the pregnancy congestion, and it's been so miserable. I barely slept the last week, and it's just been really killer. I told Johnny I just feel like death. That's just how I feel. That's the best way to describe it. It's just all, you know, headachy, mucus, coughing, not being able to sleep, not being able to get comfortable, and I'm still taking the antibiotics, so I'm having some stomach upset with that. It's just been a really brutal week and a half, and the funny thing is I just, before sitting down to film this, I just watched my 32-week update with Olivia, and I had a cold that same week, in week 32, which is so bizarre. I don't know, you're really susceptible to catching things. Usually, you know, kids catch everything. They're just little germ factories, but I haven't been catching most of the things that she catches through school or through, you know, dance class or wherever all the kids get their germs from. I usually haven't caught all that many things lately, but being pregnant I have, and catching 2 back-to-back has just been super brutal, so I'm super whiny, and I wasn't even gonna film this, but then I thought, like, I can sit down and complain. You guys understand, like, you know, complaining about the cold, not about the being pregnant part of it. It just gets more complicated being pregnant because I can't take anything, basically. They said I can take Tylenol, and at night I can take Benadryl, and that's what I've been doing. The first few nights I just roughed it with Tylenol here and there, and then a couple nights into it, when I'm getting like 45 minutes to hour stretches of sleep and waking up coughing, or waking up not being able to breathe, or waking up drooling on myself, or having to go to the bathroom, or she moves so much that it wakes me up. It was pretty much every hour or sooner I was waking up all night, and by the second or so day of that, I was like, Johnny, go get me Benadryl. I need it really bad. And that night I went to bed, like right after we tucked Olivia in. As soon as I tucked her in, I went to bed. Took the Benadryl and still could only get like 3 to 4 hour stretches because, you know, it wears off, and again, potty, pregnancy issues, I can't get comfortable, I couldn't breathe, and I wanted to film this because it's real life. It's what pregnancy is sometimes. It's not all glorious and happy and fantastic. I was just saying the last few weeks how great I felt, and then I just got knocked down with this one. So I'm definitely on the better side of it now. There were a couple of days like I could barely move. It was just like, I'm gonna lay on this couch all day. I have no energy. I feel bad. My head hurts. Tylenol is just one of those things that does not really work that great for me. I know it works for a lot of people, but I'm an ibuprofen girl. I miss my ibuprofen because I can't take it, and that's something that I would consistently take for headaches in the past, and I can't take it. So I've been dealing with the Tylenol, and it barely helps at all. I did have a fever. I did have to call the nurse's line to make sure I was doing everything right, and I ended up getting up to 100.2, which they want you to come in at 100.4. So I was really close to having to just go into urgent care or something to try to bring my fever down, because fever is the thing that's kind of scary during pregnancy. So it's okay to be sick. You know, the cold's not going to affect the baby, the strep won't affect the baby, but the fever can. So they really had me monitoring my fever. I was just checking it all the time. That's one of the reasons I took the Tylenol in the first place, because it doesn't really help so much for the headache or the congestion or anything, but it definitely helped bring down that fever when I was having it. So luckily my fever did finally break yesterday. So I have been fever-free now for over 24 hours, which is good. But yeah, having a cold during pregnancy stinks. And the nurse on the hotline says, you know, it's just really common when you're pregnant, you're gonna catch things because your immune system's down. And I did have a doctor's appointment also this week for my 2-week OB appointment. She said the same thing. She's like, you're just probably gonna catch everything at this point because your immune system's so low right now. And so it's just something you gotta be prepared for if you're pregnant. Once I caught the strep and took the antibiotics, I was like, okay, fine, you know, this will be the worst of it. And I was so not right about that. So anyway, the only noteworthy thing that came out of the doctor's appointment was I did get my growth scan scheduled for the first week of October. And so that hopefully will be my last ultrasound probably ever, especially for baby making purposes. I know you can get ultrasounds for health related things as well, but this is probably gonna be my last baby ultrasound ever. So that was kind of a milestone to put that on the calendar. But other than that, it was just like the standard stuff. They listened to the heartbeat, they measured my stomach. We talked about my scheduled C-section, which I had mentioned last week. It is scheduled and it's about 7 weeks out now, which is surprising. It just seems like time has flown, and especially this last week, I totally lost track of time, so it's been kind of crazy. So I'm just gonna go ahead and hop down my questions. It's kind of boring for this week because basically I've just had a cold. Like that's been my whole week, strep and then cold. So we are in week number 32 and baby is the size of a large squash and she's just getting big, and I can really tell that she's really big in there. She's been moving around a ton, and that's something they asked me also on the nurse hotline. They're like, okay, is baby moving around? I was like, oh yeah, she's still moving like crazy. So they weren't super concerned. My new symptoms are all just related to having the cold, the congestion, the lack of sleep, and also being on antibiotics, causing me a little bit of stomach upset. So I haven't been really into food, and you guys know I've been super food moody. Well, I was extra super duper food moody this week because I think being on the antibiotics and also being so congested, not being able to taste very much, not being able to breathe really good. I just haven't had a whole lot. There were just a few days I lived on warm tea and hot cocoa. Like, that's basically most of what I had for a couple of days. And the warmth really helped when I had strep, and now I really want cold drinks. So I'm definitely still food moody, even more so this week. The only things I've been really wanting, I've been loving pizza from this one particular pizza place. It is a wood fire Neapolitan style pizza place where they stick it in the, you know, I don't know, 1,000-degree oven, and they cook the pizza within seconds, and then it comes out, it's charred on the edges, and it's just really good artisan style pizza. We have gone there 3 times in the last 3 weeks. It's just, I've been craving it more and more. The first time we went just to try it, it has really good ratings here, and we like to try new places every once in a while. We are in Austin, so there's a lot of different food choices, and then we went back the following week because I'm like, I really, you know, I've got a hankering for that pizza again. And then we went again this week because I was like, I've got to have that pizza again. It's like the only thing that's been on my mind to have. So far, we've only gotten Jimmy John's once this week, so I'm getting kind of over that, and it is mostly because I can't really taste a whole lot right now. I also have really liked the grilled veggies. We had that a couple of times. I'm kind of over the Zuppa right now. I've got stuff to make it one more time, so I will make it and eat it because it's still really good, but I'm not obsessed with it like I was the last, gosh, almost like month probably. And then the last thing has just been over these last couple of days, I've been really liking cold drinks, and I've been making myself like these mock peanut butter milkshakes. So it's a weird sounding thing. It's not super sweet, and in fact, I made one that was too sweet and I didn't like it. I had to water it down with more almond milk after drinking a little bit of it because it was just too sweet. It's my blender cup that I stick in the Ninja. I fill it with ice, and then I put in a giant scoop of powdered peanut butter. I also put in some dark chocolate cocoa powder and either a little squirt of chocolate syrup or a little scoop of hot cocoa mix. So it is sweetened from the chocolate syrup and the hot cocoa mix, but it's not very sweet. It's like mostly just a chocolatey peanut buttery taste. And then I fill the rest of the cup with almond milk, blend it, and it's like a a fake peanut butter chocolate milkshake. It's basically like a Frappuccino. It's got the little icy chunks in it, but it tastes mostly like almond milk with a little bit of peanut butter and chocolate mixed in. So I don't know what it is about it. I've been obsessed with it. I went through an entire carton of almond milk making these the last few days because the cold feels really good when, you know, nothing else sounds good. I'm getting the protein from the powdered peanut butter. So I feel like at least I'm getting something out of it. So I've had that for sometimes instead of meals because I just don't feel like eating a whole lot right now. And I thought, you know, since it has the protein, it's also keeping me hydrated and it's soothing my throat. It's a good thing. So I have to go get more almond milk today because I used the rest of it this morning and I want to make another one. It's just really, really good. I don't know what it is. Before just like making this thing up, I haven't touched the powdered peanut butter hardly at all. I used it in smoothies when I first got it and I was like, it's not very impressive. But now I really like it. Something about the savory aspect of it in the milkshakey thing I make is really good. So that's been my like #1 craving the last few days. No aversions, basically I just don't want a whole lot of anything. And then as far as weight, I'm at 195, which is what I was last week, but that still puts me at 28 pounds overall, which is still great. And it's not gonna hurt me to not gain a pound for a week. And then new discoveries, Tylenol sucks. I put that in here because I was so disappointed that that's basically all I can take to try to feel better, and it just did not help at all. The other thing when my throat was really hurting was the warm tea with honey and lemon. I don't really like lemon in my tea, but it really helps when you have a sore throat. It's got antibacterial properties and it's got nutrients in it, so it's a good thing to have when you have a sore throat. So I definitely did that. Also, one of the things, you can gargle with warm salt water. That is also supposed to really help relieve some sore throat things. So I was just like looking up any natural remedy possible because, you know, you can't take a whole lot. And I already talked about this a little bit. I had a cold in my week #32 pregnancy update when I was pregnant with Olivia, which was really strange. And then one thing I talked about at that doctor's appointment was the baby, Olivia, was on the right side. And that's what's been happening. I've been telling you guys I feel a lot more movement on this right side, and she has made my whole stomach be super lopsided a lot recently, and it's always to the right side. So I always see this like shape jutting out on the right side, and that's totally, you know, her. In the update with Olivia, I said the midwife had said that was her spine, and I think it probably is the same kind of alignment this time, except Olivia was head down and this baby has so far not been head down. So I still don't think she's head down because I feel more like smaller movements down low, and I feel higher up, bigger movements. So I feel like her head is still up. I feel something that I think is probably her head, like a larger, harder shape poking up. And then more like little kicks and things down low, little jabs and things. So I still feel like she's probably head up at this point, but she's still on that right side, which I find really curious. I don't know what it is about positioning or my uterus, but they both have preferred that right side. And I have mentioned in the past, I do have an arcuate uterus, which is a slightly abnormal uterus. It's still within the realm of like still being sort of normal, but it might have something to do with that like they prefer that side because that maybe is the side that stretches out more. I have no idea. I might be just making that up, but I just suspect maybe it has something to do with that. And so comparing this pregnancy with my pregnancy with Olivia, when I was pregnant with Olivia, I stayed home and I was basically just a housewife. I had dogs, but that was it. And this time I have a 4-year-old. Actually, she would correct me now. I have a 4.5-year-old, and it is so much harder to be sick when you have a 4-year-old than it is just being home all alone by yourself, even with dogs. Like, taking care of dogs is not that big a deal, but it is really hard, and it's hard to explain to her that, you know, mommy's having a sick day, mommy can't do very much right now, and she has been such a trooper. She really wants to help as much as possible, and she's just been the sweetest thing. But it's also hard, like, I still have to wake up and take her to school, and I have to be on schedule and pick her up from school. It's also, you know, fixing meals. I can't just be like, okay, Johnny, eat whatever you want, and that's fine. I still have to like plan things and make food for her, pack her lunch, things like that. And so it's been trickier being sick this time versus being sick the first time. So I'll talk about the best and the worst thing. The worst thing, obviously, the sickness. That's basically the whole video. The whole thing I've talked about is just being sick. But the best thing is we are in the process of buying a house. And I've talked about this in house updates, hinting at this, and I just didn't think that this was gonna happen so soon. We started researching and we went with it. We felt really good about the decision we made. And so there have been quite a few things to do with that. Appointments, research, all sorts of things, talking with lenders and all that stuff. So I'll fill you in on like the you know, the nitty-gritty details in another video. This is just a pregnancy video, but it is definitely something that has been taking over our lives the last couple of weeks since we made the final decision. We've got a couple of appointments coming up to pick out everything, and I'm super duper excited. It does not feel real. You guys know this has been one of my dreams for years and years, and I'm really glad we're, you know, trying round 2 of this, I guess. At this point, it's round 2 of this, and it just feels right this time. Like, everything really feels right. It's total night and day difference from our last home building experience so far, and it just doesn't feel real yet. So it really hasn't sunk in yet, but it's definitely the best thing that's happened, especially like feeling so miserable these last couple weeks. Having this really positive thing to kind of concentrate on has been really helpful. So yeah, I will make a whole dedicated video on this, talk about more stuff. We are just in the very early beginning stages of it, so I don't have a whole lot of information to share at this point, but I will. So I'm thinking like maybe next week, possibly the week after. It depends on how long I sound all nasally and nasty. It'll depend on when I can make a video that's like presentable. I'm just really trying to knock this video out so you guys have the update, even though I don't feel great. I haven't filmed anything except meals and grocery hauls since getting sick, and those are like really quick little clips that I can film, but I haven't sat down, filmed anything, planned out any kind of videos. I'm just in like cold survival mode at this point. But yeah, that's gonna be a whole video or series of videos talk about house building 2.0, but I'm super stoked about it. I just wanted to fill you guys in because it is the best thing happening right now. And then on the agenda, we still have a couple more appointments and phone calls and things. Once you go down this path, there's so many things you have to do right in the beginning, so we still have like a mile-long list of stuff. And then as far as answering questions, somebody had asked, what is a half birthday? And it is when your kid turns half a year older, so 6 months older. We celebrated Olivia's half birthday last week. We always make a big deal about it because, you know, at her age, it is a bigger deal. We don't do our own half birthdays, but she loves it, and she's been just telling everybody that she is 4.5 now. And I was on the phone with somebody doing house stuff, and I said, I'm sorry, hold on just a second. And I talked to Olivia, told her like, I'm gonna be on the phone for a minute and you can go play, blah, blah. And I go, I'm sorry, that was my 4-year-old. And she goes, Mom, I'm 4.5. And I'm like, oh, excuse me, she's 4.5 because she's just really proud of that half. And it's just, I don't know, it's just a special thing that we do every August because that's when she turns half a year older. So I always try to make birthday stuff special to begin with, but then the half birthdays thrown in for little kids is just so much fun. So she gets a cupcake that day and we sing her happy half birthday instead of just happy birthday. She just loves it. She was looking forward to this for a couple of weeks. She knew it was coming up and we talked about it here and there, and she's just as happy as can be about it. I would love to ask you guys, do you guys celebrate your kids' half birthdays? Especially like when they're really young, did you celebrate them or do you skip them? Do you celebrate your own half birthday? I would love to know if you guys do the half birthday thing. But that covers everything. My throat is tired. I'm tired. I'm gonna show you my bump and then I'm gonna go back and lay on the couch some more. That's basically been my routine this whole week. Olivia was up here playing. You can see she kind of had these all stacked together and was laying here. We finally got the TV hooked up, so she watched a show up here. I can't remember what she watched, but she watched something up here and was playing up here all by herself like a big girl, and it was crazy. I think she might have been, oh, she watched Dinosaur Train. Dinosaur Train is on Amazon Prime Video, so we can watch the episodes for free on that, and she has fallen in love with it. So she watched an episode of that up here all by herself. So anyway, week number 32, almost 33 belly by the time of me filming this. I'm like a day out from week 33. But there you go, I'm wearing one of the pink blush dresses. I live in these. I tell you guys that every week. And this one's very tight, so you really see the bulge there. So there you go. And that's just gonna wrap up this video, so I hope you guys liked it. I know it was kind of a Debbie Downer video, just talking about being sick and kind of complaining about it, but that is just what I've been dealing with lately, just being sleep deprived and not in the mood to do any sort of filming. So I will hopefully be back to like my normal 3 to 4 videos, sometimes even 5 videos a week, but it'll take me a little while to get back into it. This has been kicking my butt. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. Give me a thumbs up and subscribe. If you have pregnancy related questions, leave them down below and I will be happy to answer those in my next update. Thanks so much for watching and have a great day. Bye.